Lisa, did you want to take your video off now that we're...
And do we have to have our video off as well, Daniel?
We would like to acknowledge that the land we meet on today is the traditional lands for the Kaurna people, and we respect their spiritual relationship with their country.
We also acknowledge the Kaurna people as the traditional custodians of the Adelaide region, and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to the living Kaurna people today.
Welcome to Mod. I'm Ashton, one of the moderators.
And I'm Sam. Today we're going to be live streaming a series of events to celebrate the launch of the online exhibition, Life Interrupted.
So we're pretty excited. This is the first time we've done this. So we are live streaming to you right now from our separate homes, and we'll be bringing you a bunch of interviews, telling you about the new exhibition, and we'll also have some musical guests later on today. Now, if you have any questions or comments, you can leave them in the YouTube chat and we'll be able to read them and get back to you during the stream.
It's so exciting. We've been privy to a whole lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. So thanks for joining us, and we'll be back after this little screen with a special guest. Welcome back, and hello now to Kristin Alford. Kristin Alford is the Director of Mod. Hi, Kristin. It's great to have you.
Yes, nice to see you, Sam. Nice to see you, Ashton.
Hi, great to see you. Now, just a reminder to people at home, while you're watching, if you have any questions for Kristin, please pop them in the YouTube chat and she'll be able to respond to them live for you. To start with, Kristin, we wondered if you could tell us a bit about the online exhibition Life Interrupted. What is it and why is it being created?
I mean, I think the second question is probably the where I'll start. So we decided we would close the galleries in Mod last Tuesday. The advice at that stage was that with some social distancing and keeping a lower number of people, galleries would be fine. But when we looked at our galleries, our biggest attraction is that everything is interactive. You know, we have touch screens, we have iPads, everything is a button. And when we tried to look at the risk management for how we would do that, we just decided that it wasn't going to work. And if we really wanted to think about the safety of our visitors, then we really needed to think differently. And so we decided that we would close the galleries. And so the first thing we've done is we've put a lot of our content for Seven Siblings, our current exhibition, online. So that's been really great this week, having that sort of transfer take place so that people can still access that content. And then when we were looking at things, we were like, well, are we going to close for 2 weeks or 4 weeks or 3 months or 6 months? And I just wanted to make sure that we didn't have a break in our mission. So, you know, we are designed to inspire young adults about science and technology at the intersection of art and innovation, to create spaces where people feel like they belong, and to create spaces that help people navigate their future. And I thought we shouldn't give that up just because we don't have the galleries. And so how could we do something that meets that mission of being able to navigate the future and being inspired at a time when we're probably in short supply of that? How do we do that? And so over the last 8 days, the whole of the Mod team, so our design team, engagement, operations, all of our moderators, our production team have been focused on thinking through the projects that will help us get exhibitions online in a completely different way. And so Life Interrupted is a brand new exhibition for us. It is on the theme of thinking about wellbeing and connectedness in a world that's full of uncertainty and disruption. And I'm just really excited with the chance to be able to play with something different.
Indeed, it is very exciting. And to that point, what kind of content can we expect to be appearing on Life Interrupted?
Well, I think the scary thing for us is usually when we plan an exhibition, we plan it and we test it, and when we open the doors, we want it to be pretty perfect for people coming in. digital is different. And so, you know, in this exhibition, we are starting with some exhibits that are adaptations of ideas and things we've done before. So one of those things is the bad news game. So if people came to Mod when we had Waging Peace on, we had a range of games that were designed to think about collaboration and to think about how we might more aggressively pursue peace. The bad news game was one that we commissioned a special local version of, which is all around how misinformation is seeded and is amplified. And you can see that that game is incredibly relevant to the information. So that's a really great adaptation that will sit in the exhibition. We're also thinking about what are things that we've done previously that we might have done for a slightly different purpose, but we could expand and do differently for Life Interrupted. So one of those ideas that you'll see is we had a work in hedonism, if you came to hedonism, called Biophilic Fantasies by New York artist Annie Liu, which built on the research of UniSA Professor Delene Weber, looking at, and her PhD student Morgan Chabella, looking at how nature might enable health. So what are the health benefits we might get from nature? And Annie had created a work which was half fake and half real nature, and asked our audience to consider what that felt like. We can't get our audience to walk around real nature with us on an online platform, but we can create fake nature. And so a group of our moderators are creating a build in Minecraft where our audience will be able to come in 4 nights a week and start to create a beautiful natural environment in the Minecraft environment itself. So that's an adaptation of something. I think what I'm really looking forward to, though, is it does give us a chance to commission new works from artists that will have an online expression over the next 4 to 6 months. I'm super excited about what that might be and where they might take that theme about wellbeing and connectedness and what we might need over the next few months. And we also have a range of programs. So interestingly enough, we had a couple of programs related to 7 siblings, which are really still relevant. Those include things on disaster preparedness, on medical ethics, especially with a view to pandemics, and one that we'll be running on the 6th of April, which is all around called Futures Unlearned, which is about what kind of leadership is needed in an age of uncertainty. And we'd had that planned for some time, but it seems particularly relevant. So I think those are the 4 strands we're bringing into the exhibition. Some existing works that have been adapted slightly, some works that are being expanded and extended, some new works, and I've got no idea what those will be yet. And also some of our programs will be fed in as well. So it's quite ambitious, and to see what we've got up within that short amount of time is exciting, and it is just the seed for something that's really going to grow.
Yeah, looking back, I can't believe that that's all been done in 8 days.
I think we're crazy, but I mean, one of our design principles is to be unexpected and audacious, and I think aiming to put something up in a really short period of time is completely audacious. But I think it's also been really important for us because the work that we do, we love doing it because it has purpose. And I think for many of our team and the people we've been working with, it's been a lovely distraction over a time when a whole lot of things are really topsy-turvy. And I'm hoping that for our audience who like coming to visit us, having something new and something consistent from us will also provide a much needed distraction or a much needed place for thinking about things purposefully. And yes, some of that does relate to COVID-19 because that's the world we're in. I think it's applicable to that world, but it's not confined by it. And I think what we're wanting to explore is, a much bigger canvas, which I think is kind of what we need. Oh, it's certainly what I need.
It's so interesting hearing you talk about how some of the things we're learning and exploring are specific to now, but not just now. Because actually just now on our YouTube chat, we had a comment from Nikki Sullivan. Hi, Nikki. Thanks for watching. To say, yes, the question of how to maintain connection in an epidemic is so important. Might be worth considering some of the scholarly work produced in the 80s around HIV/AIDS. So it's showing that it's part of a much bigger conversation too.
Yeah, and look, I think it's really interesting because I've spoken to a couple of friends recently who've had to go into social isolation because they were on a plane with someone or they'd just come back from overseas, and the feelings that come up are feelings of being afraid because you don't really know what's going to happen because the outcomes for people are so variable, and there's that uncertainty, but also feeling really guilty and really ashamed. And I think I'm interested by that because I think that comparison then with AIDS or with other things is quite poignant. And I think one of the projects that we're looking at is particularly focused on young LGBTQI people, and we don't know what that project will look like. But I think Nikki's point is really important. And I think the other thing that my team's been talking about is social connection is great when you have strong social connections, but marginalised people or migrants or a variety of people in our community might not have those strong social connections here. Or if you rely on those strong social connections and it's part of your culture, how do you keep your culture going when those rituals are not able to keep going? So I think that those things, I think, are certainly things that we're curious to help explore with people.
And another comment that we've just got in from Chillin. Hi, Chillin. Chillin says, it's very exciting to know that Mod is still keeping the audience entertained and equipped us all with very great knowledge and information during the time like this. And I mentioned that one as well. It's just kind of a celebratory comment. Thanks, Chillin. But, I mean, Chillin could be anywhere in the world right now and actually engage in a really full way with this Mod exhibition, whereas previous exhibitions to engage totally you'd have to come to Mod. So that's another exciting angle on this purely online exhibition. Would you like to talk to that, Kristin?
Yeah, and look, I think that's the thing that I'm really interested in learning about also while we do this is one of the great strengths, I think, of what we've done at Mod over the last, it's not even 2 years, but over the last almost 2 years, is that when you come into the gallery, there's people like Ashton and you, Sam, and our other moderators there to have a conversation with people. And that one thing I like about doing a launch like this, rather than just popping a video up, is we're here to have conversations with people. At the moment, it's through chat and some video, but there might be opportunities for us to do video. There might be opportunities for people to chat to moderators within Minecraft. I know that the live streams that we've been doing in the deep dive of our 7 siblings characters have allowed people to listen to what our other moderators, Debbie and Samuel, have been talking about. And I know there was a conversation about COVID-19 and that, which was again informative. So I think it does give us an opportunity to think about how we bring that value of Mod into an online environment and make sure that it's not simply like walking into an empty gallery, but we're walking into spaces that allow those conversations to take place at certain times. So I think that's also something that I think this exhibition will allow us to kind of play around with. We won't find our groove in the first couple of weeks or maybe even the first month, but I think across the course of however many months we are doing online, we'll learn things and we'll take things back into gallery spaces and into our interaction with visitors after things start to return to normal.
Absolutely. And actually part of what I'm excited about is that thing that we know there are certain things we're doing, but also you saying right at the beginning of the chat and some other things that we don't know yet, which is really exciting to have that open space to have that conversation with people watching at home, but also to let things grow and change.
Yeah, and I mean, I keep going back to, our design principles, so participatory, open-ended, unexpected. Those things should be the way that we are presenting ourselves online as well. And I think that's why I'm really excited about what we're doing. It's slightly uncomfortable, I think, for all of us to put that learning on show, and I think that's really great.
And we're getting a couple more comments through. Crystal, hi Crystal. Crystal says, it is ironic that in the past we used to criticise the time that we spent using tablets or mobile phones, and now those are the tools that are actually keeping us connected.
Oh, Crystal, I'm sorry. I'm a bit. I find myself kind of overwhelmed by the constant screen use this week, and I think that's something else that makes me curious. How do we stay connected in a way that's not constantly connected to phone? I have this kind of image in my head of everyone returning to kind of the landline. Because people are at home and you pick up the old record dial, and because you just don't need all of that stimulation. So. I just we'll stay curious, and we'll kind of probe that a little bit more as we go, I think, Crystal.
And also we've got another comment coming through from Matthew. I'm loving the Zoom/YouTube hack. Nice. So a little shout out to our team in the background there, making that all work.
Oh, look, and I would say that we're interested in technology, so we've often had virtual reality or augmented reality in the galleries, and using a variety of video conferencing in the programs that we've run, but it does require some new skills from us. So I'm just laughing because I was thinking about the meeting that the team was holding on Zoom a couple of days ago, where I think maybe 5 different platforms were being considered before we'd settled on the YouTube Zoom hack. So I think there's a lot to learn, and there'll be a plethora of new programs and new processes, and we'll keep seeing what works.
Well, speaking of communication screen overload, we're going to give you a little break now, Kristin, but we'll have you back later in the broadcast. And now we're going to go to a little holding screen, but after that, we will have a special guest coming soon.
Great. Thank you both.
Thanks, Kristin.
And also,
I'm just struggling to get this file.
Turn our videos off.
Yes, video, mute and video. And Ashton, when we come back in, do you want to say welcome back
Hello, welcome back to our live stream of Life Interrupted. Thanks for bearing with us. We are figuring this out as we go, just like all of us are. But we're really excited right now because we have one of our very multi-talented moderators, Jacob, with us.
Hi, Jacob.
Hello, how are you?
So Jacob is one of our multi-talented moderators and musical, to bring us some musical goodness. Jacob Whitelock is an Adelaide-based singer-songwriter, guitarist, and leader of the indie group St. Jzuk.
Now, Jacob writes wholesome songs about family, distance, and perseverance. And he loves hand claps and group shouts. So this sounds kind of perfect for what we need right now. So Jacob's going to play live for you now, and we'll see you in a bit.
Great. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'm going to play a few songs. Rise now to that morning, feel the sound creeping behind me, like a rib, like a tide, like a jet, seeping to it. But I'm off now, like a light bulb, too young to grow old, old enough to feel it in the chest, in the ear, in my head, this right here. In the house now, there is bleeding on from the lights now. There is leaking on. To be young and unaware, to hurt the ear and to lose the hair. Age does not come to leave us. It comes to carry us away. When I lift now to that silence, like a heartbeat, come to take up this room like a crowd. Come in to that sound, feel it grow, feel it pound. When I shift now in this light air, I am sorry, I am not coping with the night, with the noise, with the fall, with the heat, any other, anything at all. In the house now, there is bleeding on from the lights now. There is leaking on. To be young and unaware, to hurt the ear and to lose the hair. To be young and unaware, to hurt your ear, then you lose the hair. Age does not come to leave us. It comes to carry us away. Age does not come to leave us. It comes to carry us away. Thank you, everybody. It's the first time I've done a live stream of the internet like this, which is really strange. It feels like I'm playing to no one, but I know I'm playing to people. So I'm gonna pretend that there's little applauses after each song and I'll say, thank you. And then I'll keep on trucking. I'm gonna play a song now that I play with the band that I play in, as Sam said earlier, St. Jzuk. This song is called Another Sense. I'm gonna move to Canada or go to America, and I hope that when I go, you're happy where you are. I'll leave the keys if you take the car. If you're alone, don't drive too far. And when you're going, it gets too tough, you can sell my guitar. Oh, the fishermen on Lake Michigan, I'll see them sailing home. And I'll try again just to understand if I'm okay on my own. If I need to be where you are. When I moved to Wanaka, south to Antarctica, the light will take its course, take root where we are. And I pour into everything the love that could lift away. And in searching for a reason, we find a place to stay. Oh, the fishermen on Lake Michigan, I've seen them sailing home. And I'll try again just to understand if I'm okay on my own. If I need to be where you are. Oh, the fishermen on Lake Michigan, I see them sailing, and I'll try again just to understand if I'm okay on my own. If I need to be where you are. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to try something a little bit different now. So I have with me down here this little synthesizer. It's a very tiny little pocket piano thing. I'm going to do a cover now using one of the settings on here. It's a song from Sesame Street. It's one of my favorite songs. It's really beautiful. It's called I Don't Want to Live on the Moon. And if you've heard it before, then I'm sorry, I'm going to bring up some very touching childhood memories about wanting to leave the place you call home, but not wanting to leave the people who make it home. It's really, it's just so good. You should look up the original if you haven't heard it before. Well, I'd like to visit the moon on a rocket ship high in the air. Yes, I'd like to visit the moon, but I don't think I'd like to live there. Though I'd like to look down at the earth from above, I would miss all the places and people I love. So although I might like it for one afternoon, I don't want to live on the moon. I'd like to travel under the sea. I would meet all the fish everywhere. Yes, I'd travel under the sea. but I don't think I'd like to live there. I might stay for a day there if I had my wish, but there's not much to do when your friends are all fish and an oyster and clam are a real family. I don't want to live in the sea. I'd like to visit the jungle, hear the lions roar, go back in time and meet a dinosaur. There's so many strange places that I'd like to be, but none of them permanently. So if I should visit the moon, I would dance on a moonbeam, and then I would make a wish on a star. Then I'd wish I was home once again. Though I'd like to look down at the earth from above, I would miss all the places and people I love. So although I may go there, I'll be coming home soon. 'Cause I don't wanna live on the moon. No, I don't want to live on the moon. What a beautiful little song. Now, I'd like to thank Mod so much for having me be a part of this Life Interrupted launch. It's pretty amazing to see what they've done in such a short amount of time and how they're adapting to this very unadaptable situation that we find ourselves in. I'm going to play 2 more quick songs for you on the guitar, and then you'll be able to enjoy the rest of Life Interrupted. The next song I'm going to play for you is called In Faith. It's about memory, about how we try to change memory to make ourselves feel more comfortable. I was a child in your arms right then. Oh, right. And eyes came alive, I didn't know it back when. Hey, yeah. Oh, the watch that stops to say. So we hold away, I'll bury it down again in faith. So we hold away, I'll bury it down in here. My head was the pearl in your mouth right then. Okay. No hair to uncurl, no curtain to draw back when I had, oh no, oh your touch, it stops to say. Somewhere deep inside, I'll bury you down to keep in faith. Somewhere hold away, I'll bury you down in here. And all the times I said I'd never let you go. Hey. And if it hurts too much to show, when you feel it, you just know. Oh, you give it time to grow, but no, it doesn't grow. In the lush, forgot to say, Somewhere in your heart, don't bury me down again in faith. Somewhere all the way, I'll bury you down in here. And all the times I said I'd never let you go, but it hurts too much to show. Hey, hey. When you feel it, you just know it. Only give it time to grow. Thanks so much for having me, everybody. And thanks again to Mod. This is my last song I'm going to play. It's called We're Not Alive. It's about feeling a lack of connection with your surroundings, people around you, and with yourself. So it's the exact opposite of what we are doing right now, which is good. It's nice to remember that we are on the right track. And even though it's hard to stay connected, we're doing a very good job of staying connected. So thanks to everyone. Thanks for watching. My name's Jacob. I'm going to play this song. It's called We're Not Alive. Lover, come down, tell me everything you want from me. When I touch you, when we're crossed legs, do you feel comfortable like we've been before we left? We wipe the sweat and take heart. Lover, come down, tell me how can you do favor. We're not alive, we're not alive, we're not alive. Target, fall down, tell me all the ways I let you down. Seeing crosshairs, staring through glass, do you feel valuable like I was before I grew self-aware and critical? Lover, come down, tell me everything will start to make sense. Listen, slow down, list off all the words that describe you. Check your star sign, maybe your moon, it's still coming on. If all things close, my favorite birds, even they run out of words, but lover, come down, emotion. We're not alive. We're not alive. We're not alive. We're not alive. Thanks so much, everybody.
Hello, welcome back. Jacob, thank you so much. That was beautiful. That was lovely. And thanks for hanging out with us now for a bit of a chat.
No
And
worries.
just quickly, before we go on, I just wanted to, because you couldn't hear us clapping, but I promised we were. So I just wanted to do a quick, it was so great. Thank you. So if people have just tuned in, as part of our new exhibition, Life Interrupted, we're looking at well-being and connectedness. I need to practice that word. It is a long one. Well-being and connectedness in a disrupted and uncertain world. So our online exhibition is exploring aspects of well-being, and there are lots of different ways we're doing this, but one of the ways is through meditative soundscapes.
And we're also going to update our website over time with alternative means for social connectedness, such as community-built gardens in Minecraft.
I'm so excited about that. So we really want to stay connected, and we want to know what's happening on your end of the screen. So this will mean not just tonight, but as we go on, keeping conversations going, even from our different homes like we are today.
And we're excited to have a little chat with Jacob now, and you at home streaming along, send in your questions. So to kickstart the conversation.
Well, I have a pre-prepared question ready to go. So one of the ever-evolving conversations that we're having at the moment at Mod, but also I feel like everywhere right now, is what does well-being look like in the current climate? You know, obviously a lot has changed very quickly. So I wondered, Jacob and Sam, if you had any thoughts on this, about how well-being looks like right now.
It's a really tricky question.
It's a big one.
Yeah, it's just dropping that straight in. My first response is that I think well-being, I mean, right now, but also in other times, but I think well-being is very, very personal at the moment. I think there are people who are feeling really, really isolated, and for them, well-being does mean being part of broader networks, online, places they live. Then I think for other people as well, this kind of bombardment online has a bit too much, and maybe well-being for some other people is to kind of sit back and lean into the isolation, or the distancing a little bit. I think it's a really big time to kind of discover what it does mean for each of us at the moment.
Yeah. I've been thinking of just about connectedness, maybe, that the term social distancing doesn't ring true to me. It feels like we're physically distancing, so it's physical distancing or just distancing, but social, we don't have to distance at all. So I think someone said earlier, Lisa said that she'd sort of contacted her mum more than usual during this period. And I found myself, spending times that I wouldn't normally spend in a social way with people sort of online while we both prepare dinner and stuff like that, just sort of catching up. So in some ways it's kind of release those times to actually be social times as well. So I may be getting closer socially, I think, maybe.
Yeah, that reminds me. I had a group chat with some international friends for the first time. Like the first time we'd done a group Skype last week, and it wouldn't have happened if it weren't for these circumstances. So, yeah,
it's so interesting. Like, yes to everything you've both just said. I feel like every day, because things are changing so quickly, but every day I'm writing down new little notes about things I've learned and how I'm thinking about well-being differently. Because for me, a big thing I'm discovering personally is that I need that balance. So what you were saying, Jacob, about some people are really craving lots of online connection and other people need a bit of space. For me, I'm finding I really need that balance of like a bit of screen time and checking in. But then if I've done that for half an hour, I kind of need half an hour of yoga or being quiet for a while or reading a book. And every day I think I'm getting a little bit closer to finding that balance, but it can be a tricky one, especially because we want to keep checking in with each other. And I guess it's trying to be open with our friends about what we need and what's working on different days. Kind of having that conversation like we are now, I guess.
I love food pics and online recipe, YouTube recipes. Shout out to the happy pair out there on YouTube. But so I'm really enjoying people's home food pics. It's kind of it's a whole nother layer to food pics. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I've been cooking a lot more in the last week than I think I've done in my entire life. Every year I've been like, this is the year I'm going to be an adult and learn how to cook properly. In this last week, I have made some pretty tasty dishes, I got to say.
Amazing. Yeah, I think that the things getting me through are it's given me the time to I get back into meditation apps, which I found really relieving, and also pictures of small dogs is really getting me through. I'm feeling connected to small dogs because I don't have one, so the internet is allowing me to really get in touch with my inner small dog lover.
Oh my gosh, can I show you something, Jacob? So I don't have any dogs, but I really, really want a dog, but I have lots of plants. And I've tried to bridge the gap.
Oh, I love it. It's so good.
So this is part of my wellbeing practice at the moment is looking after this little beauty. One day I'll have a real dog.
Now, if the reason for not having a dog is just, I know there's lots of reasons for not having a dog, Jacob, but if it's just haven't had the time or had the stability to be in one place at a time, we all know we're being in one place at a time for a time at the moment. So, and a lot of the kind of animal shelters are looking for kind of fostering and taking on some of those rescued animals as well. So it might be the perfect time to really connect with a new pet if you have the ability where you are.
Yeah, you could do some hardcore bonding right now.
Yeah, it's a good time for bonding, really. Just in general.
Also, I reckon landlords aren't going to be checking up on if you've got a pet for the next few months anyway. So
we're not doing inspections right now. Also, we've been having some comments coming through, which is awesome because we'd really love to hear from you all at home about how you're thinking about well-being in this very unusual time. I'm loving Diana's comment. All it says is halloumi equals well-being.
Yes.
Totally agree.
Yeah, I have to agree there.
Sarah has said, people bringing their pets to Zoom meetings is great for everybody's well-being. That's lovely. I've got some friends with little kids as well. Obviously, everyone's missing out on their socializing at the moment. When friends with little kids come on, and then there's other little kids in the Zoom, and sometimes we just leave the kids to the Zoom. They can have their own little kids chat. That works.
And we're getting another comment. This one's from Willa. Hi, Willa. Saying, I've cooked more than usual because I have more time to experiment with recipes at home. So true. That is something, in terms of well-being, I feel like prior to this, I've always been a very, very busy person, tend to overcommit to things. It's been a really interesting test to be forced to slow down. And one of those things is cooking more and getting more experimental because it's like, well, yeah, I do have time to slowly roast that. Or, I do have time to do heaps of prep and then check on it throughout the evening. So, that's been a really nice thing I found too, Willa. And
how about in your craft, Jacob, in making music or even just playing instruments? I dabble a bit in playing instruments, and I've found I've had heaps more time than usual just to practice that really hard little lick or, that little bit of finger picking that I have never really haven't bothered. But now it's like,
Yeah, it's been an interesting week, I think, for myself and for a lot of following and being connected with a lot of other musicians and creatives online, because there are certain people who've responded to it really creatively and have felt the inspiration to respond to it with what they write and what they perform. But there's also been another camp of people who've kind of been a bit overwhelmed. And to be honest, I've been a little bit overwhelmed. I haven't felt very creative. I haven't felt like, oh, finally, here's my chance to write 100 songs kind of thing. It hasn't felt like a release so far. But I think what is good is that I've just been playing more, and it's been a good experience over the last few days to kind of just learn other people's songs, I think. And I'm feeling connected just by, even though I'm not feeling necessarily motivated to be creative, I'm learning my friends' songs and learning artists that I love. And I think that's a form of connection. Even though you're still alone in your room, you're acting as part of a bigger creative legacy that, you know, you're participating in by playing these chords in your bedroom. And I think that's something that's really helped me. Whilst not being super creative, it's definitely kept me grounded and made me feel closer to the art form.
Oh, I really appreciate you being so honest about that, because I think that's, I've felt a bit of weird pressure in that regard in terms of being creative, because you know, when I'm not moderating, I'm usually acting, and obviously live theatre is not a thing right now. And so it is tricky, because part of me feels like, oh, I'm going to have this amazing creative surge and I can finally read all those plays I wanted to read, and maybe, you know, I'll write like a world famous novel. This is the time. But some days that's just not how I'm feeling. Some days it's better just to take it slow and sit back a little bit. Or on that, we've just had a comment from Kat on our feed, which says, creative friends, it's okay to not use your time productively when you're overwhelmed. It's time for self-care, not productivity. Yes. I am totally feeling that. Heck yeah.
And we've got another comment from Morgan that says, so many Facebook groups have started that are really targeted towards motivating yourself. I joined one today by a photographer, designer, and every day the group has been Zooming, inspiring, teaching each other. So a real sense of community there. And perhaps on that, we'll give you a chance to check some of your Facebook groups, check your socials. We're going to have a tiny break. Keep the stream live and we'll be back shortly. Welcome back. Oh my goodness, it's just special guest after special guest. I love a launch. And we've got on the line, we have Ira, aka Jzuk, who's an Adelaide-raised electronic music producer whose live shows consist of soulful house pop. And before we hear your set, Jzuk, we'd just like to know a few things about you. So how do you go about creating your music? How does that work?
So I'm hearing a little bit of a feedback loop. I reckon that's because it's.
And welcome back again. We were caught in a little bit of an internet loop echo there. But now we're back and we fixed that. So well done, everyone in the background. So Jzuk, welcome back again. Welcome again.
Hi, thanks again.
And so yeah, we were asking, how do you go about creating your music? What elements?
For the moment, I'm doing a lot more electronic kind of dance pop kind of sounds. So like a little bit of house beats I'm trying to work on. So I'm using Ableton primarily, and different, every song I'll start off differently. So we'll have different hardware. Sometimes I'll be using a Korg synth, or sometimes I'll just be using plugins straight from Ableton. But most songs at the moment have live bass in them, and then everything else is just like a bunch of plugins. There's heaps of good free ones. There's some that you can pay like $11 a month or something, and then every song kind of is different. That's kind of how I enjoy doing stuff, is just seeing what happens. Ableton's my go-to.
Sweet, that's good to know for people watching if they're keen to get into some music making. So you write your own tracks. So I was wondering two things. It's a two-part question. One, how and where you normally find your inspiration for tracks, and two, whether that might change now that we're in kind of more of a social isolation time.
That's a good question. The inspiration, I would say, is like comes from a bit of a social isolation place already, I reckon. When I listen to, I love going to the clubs and just having a boogie, and then like, of course, then I'll be like, oh, this is sick, I would love to make something like this. But a lot of the time it's just chucking on some headphones and just even just going for a walking my dog, and I'll just be like, this is a sick beat, I want to make something like this. So a lot of it is just listening to stuff that makes me want to have a dance and trying to emulate it, trying to just like basically copying it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with hearing a song you love and being like, I want to be able to make that kick, make that snare, I want to make it sound like that song. I think that's a great way as an electronic producer to go about things, is listen to songs you love and then just try and copy them without like copying the words and all that. But you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know if that answered.
That's perfect. And now, Jzuk was actually booked to be part of the Mod Live series, which showcases young local musicians. And she was going to be playing this Friday night, so tomorrow night, around this time, live at the physical gallery. But with these new changes, we're excited to instead bring Jzuk's set to you. So I think we're just going to have a tiny little break, and then we'll be back with your set. Thank you so much, Jzuk.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day. Bye.
Oh, this is wild. Oh, this is wild. All this is wild. All this is wild. And it's nice to be inspired by the things you like.
Here's another boppy tune.
Throw it on, 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 throw it on. to you. Problems I create alone that bring me down. Throw it on, throw it on, throw it on. Throw it on, throw it on, throw it on. Wind's picked up, I feel sure I got stuck up, got no way to reach up to the top. Oh no, they scratch up my nose when I snatch, crack my head, all the sweet juices flow. Maybe now I scrape them up, sell them up and throw it on, throw it on, throw it on. Throw it on, throw it on, throw it on. Okay. Here's another ditty. Cruising through the night, a constant fear all of us might lose our thoughts straight through our minds. Pick a season to ignite. Oh, I'm gaining on time, and it spreads, washes over under my skin. I've been here so long, you've been here long too. I've been here so long, you've been here long Gaining on time, and it spreads, washes over under my skin. Now I'm gaining on time, and it's coming around, yeah, it's coming around, yeah, it's coming around, yeah, it's coming around, oh, it's coming around, yeah, it's coming around, it's coming around, yeah, it's coming around.
Thank you for being part of that. Now we have a banger. This one's about the Great Ant War. I'm not sure if you guys have heard. It doesn't get taught in schools much, but pretty much ants used to rule the world like years and years ago. And this is a song about that. Alrighty. So this next song is about Uber drivers and just the love and care that they bring every single night. This is thank you to them. Hey man, Chuck a ride. I wouldn't be here in another life. Yeah, just right up is fine. Would you give me all your stars if I give you mine? Hey man, Chuck a ride. I wouldn't be here in another life. Yeah, just right up is fine. Will you give me all your stars if I give you mine? I was a king's only best friend. Tiny throne sitting on his left side. Then cups line up into rows. The horses they move forwards. I'm like the shit's about to go down. Your love is so deep, it's comforting me. Your love is so deep, it's comforting me. Keep me satisfied. Pass me a mint and then you tell me about your night. Yeah, you seem nice. I bet your kids are really cool and you love your wife. You're my guiding light. Pass me a sick bag, you're my shining light. Wait, don't let me out. I left my keys and oh my god, this is not my house. Your love is so deep, it's comforting me. I feel it in you. I feel it in you. I feel it in you. Your love is so deep, it's comforting me. Your love is so deep, it's comforting me.
Woohoo!
Thank you, Jzuk. That was great. And welcome back. Now we'd like to welcome to the chat Lisa Bailey, who Lisa is our Senior Exhibitions Manager at MOD. Hi, Lisa.
Hello.
And also we're welcoming back our Director, Kristin Alford. Hi again, Kristin.
Nice to be back.
Now we thought we'd keep having a bit of a chat, and one of the things that we're really keen to know about is in these times of social distancing, what are some of your tips and tricks on social connectedness? And I know we've had, you know, only about a week or so to kind of figure it out, and it's an ongoing process. But has there been a favourite thing you've found so far for still having that social connectedness?
Well, I think Sam mentioned earlier, I've been doing a lot more FaceTiming with my mum. I've been talking to her every day, which is a lot more than I normally would. So really lovely. And I think not so much social connectedness, but I was really thinking, just because of all the amazing music that we've heard this afternoon, and it's really made me feel so much better about life. I was actually just had a huge smile on my face at the end of Jacob's set. And I think that one of the things I found myself doing is I'm usually tuning in a lot to news and podcasts and listening to people talking, and I found myself wanting to tune out of that more and tuning into Spotify playlists and kind of use music and appreciating and enjoying music a bit more. And I think this afternoon has like really reinforced that as well. So it's something I'm definitely I've definitely noticed that I've changed and listened to much more music in the last week, and I think that will keep going as well.
Yeah, whereas I think I'm looking for ways to kind of still be out and about without making that unsafe. You know, so at the moment it's okay to take a walk around the block or go to the park. So we went to the park last night, and there were lots of families in very different parts of the park, all with their dogs on leads, but it felt like you were still part of a community, which was really nice. And then we were reading online about communities that had put little teddy bears in their windows so that the kids could come around and go on a bear hunt to keep them occupied. So we've now got a little teddy bear at the front of our house. And look, I don't know if there are any kids in our neighborhood looking for bears, but it just made me feel like I was part of something that was a little bit bigger than, you know, just my house. Made me feel like I was part of community. So I found that was really nice.
I love that idea of the bear hunt. I hadn't heard of that before. And if people aren't doing it, let's start it now. Hey, perfect. And we've actually just had a comment from Nikki on our feed. Hi, Nikki. And I love this. She's saying that one of the groups that she's working on is setting up pen pal or buddy relationships and posting letters and other materials to people who aren't online. And I think that's such a cool idea, because that's been something, you know, I'm making sure I'm calling my grandma because she's not online. So all of these kind of great initiatives that are happening aren't happening for everyone. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a really cool idea from Nikki there.
Yeah, well, we were talking with Natalie, one of our exhibition coordinators, because our exhibition that is in our gallery, our closed galleries at the moment, you finish that exhibition and you have the chance to draw on a piece of card to talk about what future you want to create. And that still seems like a really good exercise, but we just balked at putting that online as well. And we were like, oh, is there a way that we could get a PDF that you could print out and you could post it back to us and then we'd put it up somewhere? I mean, we haven't worked that out. But I think it's interesting to watch those things emerge of what works really well on digital, how we're adapting to doing things differently in digital, and what is really nice about that, and also what isn't so great and what we seek for in other places. So yeah, I kind of like the pen pal thing. I think that's a really nice way of staying connected.
Absolutely. And how about you, Sam? Have you had any?
Well, I think it's a good reminder about, like, not everyone has access to online or to kind of streaming and things like this. So yeah, it's a good time to remember that there's people out there who, you know, it's a very privileged position to have all this access and this technology and the internet and everything. So yeah, that there's still people out there that need to stay connected. And I guess just like I'm still going for walks around the local reserve as well. It's kind of a double footy oval, so it's a nice distance and it's nice and big. So yeah, everyone's staying well apart and well away from each other. And I don't touch anything while I'm out. But you know, it's still at 10 meters. You can have little chats with people, and there's a whole line of houses that are on the edge of the reserve, and so you can kind of shout to people over their fence, say hi, and you know, just really long distance conversations is one way that I'm trying to stay connected with other people around as well.
And, good for like practicing vocal projection.
Yeah.
Voice warm-ups.
But it's a nice way to kind of check in on your neighbours as well, if you know your neighbours or if you don't. I know we've got neighbours over our back fence, and we've been trying to have a peer over and check in and make sure that they're okay. And think about, for the people that aren't online, we've got, friends of my parents and parents-in-law who really shouldn't be going out. And so, arranging to do shopping for them and things like that. So for people, what are the things that we can do that are like those physical, practical things where you can do something for someone else?
Absolutely.
It's really helpful for, it's really practically helpful for other people, but it's also helpful for you to feel that you're doing something useful as well.
Totally. And I feel like they can be bigger things like picking stuff up from the shops for people, but it can also be really small things. Like I've really noticed in this last week, since I've been, staying home and only going out for essentials, how much I miss the banter I used to have with like my local barista, and those little kind of small conversations I'm really missing. And I've noticed, like, if I go to the supermarket, obviously, understandably, everyone looks quite stressed. Everyone's kind of figuring out what's going on for them and making lots of changes. That when someone does, from 2 meters away, make eye contact and smile at me, it is so nice. It makes such a big difference. So this last week, I hope I haven't looked too creepy, but I've given myself a bit of a task that when I'm at the shops to make, from a safe distance, eye contact with a stranger and just smile. And it's been really nice to have those little moments of like, yeah, this is weird and we're in it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to take the word social out of social distancing. It's just distancing or physical distancing, and keep the social going no matter how big a distance. So when we have to make those trips outside, we have to go to the supermarket, we have to do stuff like that. It's a great moment to, just have a long-range smile or a long-range chat or,
But it's a really good example as well of a phrase that's a little bit confusing, because social distancing is an academic term around that nobody knew 2 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. And so, actual physical distancing or staying at home is much more clear language. And I noticed that the ABC Science Online have moved to using physical distancing because that is more descriptive of the thing that you're talking about. And so, the way that we're talking about these things really matters as well.
Absolutely. I'm just noticing now we've had a couple of comments come through with some other suggestions. Matthew is saying picking up the phone and having a chat, not texting, is quite a thing for me now. Yeah, which is so interesting.
Yeah, I was just sort of commenting a little bit earlier when we were thinking about things that, I just wondered if landlines were going to make a comeback so that you weren't constantly holding that thing and you had to go and sit somewhere and just do it in a kind of a different mindset.
And we've got another comment through from Delos Stabeles. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I find great meaning and fulfillment in efforts to bring something new and meaningful into the world. So maybe someone being creative out there, or even just a good meal is.
I think that's been a theme of this launch conversation. The conversation you had with Jacob about creating new music, or if not creating it, trying different ways of exercising those connections, or trying to find meaning and trying to do new things we talked about early on. And I think that's a really nice way to kind of sum up what we're trying to do with this launch today, and with the exhibition itself that is now online and not part of, not just part of this launch, but a thing where people can go and explore over at our website. But that's probably more for Lisa to talk about. I can give further detail.
Well, as we talk about bringing new and meaningful things into the world, Kristin, as our director, you've steered the ship in this new and meaningful exhibition of Life Interrupted. So perhaps we say thank you, and we'll be catching up with you throughout the online exhibition and the talks and forums as well in the future. But thanks for joining us today for this launch.
My absolute pleasure, and thank you for hosting. And I look forward to switching over now to the stream to watch the end of the launch. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, Kristin.
Bye, Kristin.
But Lisa, you stay.
I'm staying.
You're not going anywhere.
And as we mentioned, Lisa, briefly before, is that you're the Senior Exhibitions Coordinator. Can you describe what your role is for viewers?
Yeah, so I work with the exhibition design team here at MOD, usually on figuring out what we're going to put into the physical galleries when people come and visit us as a museum space. And so that's anything from taking, the theme of an exhibition through to a concept and seeing what sort of research ideas we can showcase and highlight in those gallery themes. And then, taking that through to an idea, finding people to work with, artists or exhibition designers and creative technologists, and then turning it into an interactive, immersive experience in the gallery. And I've got there's a beautiful team of people that I work with that help put all of those together. And then, in the last week, we've decided to do something completely different, which is create an online exhibition. So we've collated a number of exhibits to start with, and a lot of these relate to some previous exhibitions that we've already had. So we've adapted some of that to work online, but we'll be also adding to it over the next however long Life Interrupted needs to be around. It will be here for as long as it needs to be. And that will involve commissioning some new work. So keep coming back and visiting that. I guess Kristin talked earlier about a couple of the exhibits that we've got there. So she talked about the Bad News game, which was originally part of our Waging Peace exhibition. So that's a great one. It's actually really good. It's good. You take on the role of being a fake news merchant, really, and your aim is to try and get as many followers on social media, just sharing whatever is going to push people's buttons and trigger their emotions. And so it kind of takes you through all the different tricks that fake news purveyors might use to emotionally hook you in with what they're sharing, which is really, really relevant when we're getting all of this like bombardment of information at the moment, and people, sharing stuff all through their own family Facebook groups and friend Facebook groups or whatever, WhatsApp groups or whatever group chats that you're on. It's important to remember that people will trust, if they're your friends, they're more likely to trust the information that you're sharing. So it's really good to kind of have that way to be able to critically kind of think about the links that you're going to share before you do share them. So that one's really exciting. I'm very excited about Modcraft, which Kristin also mentioned, about building a virtual garden in Minecraft. So that's going to be live every day, well, not every day, every Tuesday to Friday in the afternoon. And you'll be able to go in, some of our moderators will be there, go in and create a beautiful biophilic space, because we know that creating these green spaces has all of these important benefits for our psychology and our physiology. And so being able to explore how virtual environments impact that is really interesting and exciting. And then I'll just talk about a couple of other exhibits, and then,
please.
I definitely wanted to mention, because Jacob talked about especially looking at pictures of small dogs and finding that helping him. So for anyone out there like Jacob who enjoys looking at pictures of animals, we have a curated gallery of all of the MOD pets. I actually don't even think it's all of the MOD pets. It's quite a list, but yeah, there's some very cute fluffs in there to go look at. And so go check that one out. We do know that pets are really important for mental health. There's UNICEF research around that.
Lisa, I heard a rumour that if you don't have a pet, maybe a plant can be included in the gallery.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we'll have to update it with a plant. Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this earlier that I showed Jacob, but I thought this might be a good compromise.
I did see that, and I think it's amazing.
So I'm looking forward to this getting its own.
And maybe even we can have little teddy bears just as kind of like Easter eggs around the site, so you can go on a little teddy bear hunt as well. Never know. It's ever evolving.
Maybe. I guess one of the things that people, if anyone visited our museum in person, you will have seen the beautiful Science on a Sphere that's part of our Universal Gallery. It's pretty much one of the really iconic things about mod. It's always there. And so, yeah, it's a Science on a Sphere. It's very beautiful when it's got you'll have been seeing it, pictures of it in the stream today when we're cutting out and having the little break. What you're seeing is our Science on a Sphere that's in our Universal Gallery. And so while you can't get into the gallery at the moment, there's a link on our exhibit page to go and download the app so that you can look at it from home. So we hope that people will find that comforting, because there's definitely something about seeing the Earth as a whole and realising that, like you said, Ashton, we're all in this together. This is a global problem. We're all interconnected. And I think that's a nice thing to kind of explore and look at while you're thinking of things to do.
Absolutely. Well, maybe that's a nice way to kind of round out our chat about Life Interrupted today. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us and telling us about your role, but also about some of the different things people can expect.
Yeah, and like I said, please keep coming back, because we'll definitely add more to it. And there's more there already right now that I haven't even mentioned. So go check it out.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Thanks, Lisa.
Bye.
And that brings us to the end of our live launch for Life Interrupted. Thank you so much to all of the special guests and all the people working behind the scenes, and to Jacob Whitelock and Jzuk for their amazing live performances.
And an extra special thank you as well to you for tuning in. This is the first time we've done something like this, and it's been really exciting to share with you. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're really looking forward to finding new ways to keep bringing mod to you in these strange circumstances, and also to keep sharing these ideas and conversations. And
stay tuned to our socials and to the mod website for upcoming events, forums, and exhibition content. It's an ever-evolving, growing thing, so keep checking in, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. See ya.